with everyone involved, it's not a good situation, obviously, for anyone. Can't really talk much about it as the police investigation is still going on. I know we have an executive session later today to cover some of the details there. But I just thought maybe a moment of silence for the deceased would be great. Okay, thanks. I don't think we had any public comment. Nobody signed up today. Okay, last chance. Not even much public here today. Chairman update. I guess a couple things. One, I know Darryl talked about it. The Safety Award Luncheon tomorrow is a great event to really celebrate all the good work that our operators do. It really is fun and amazing. I mean, I'm in awe of what they do to serve the public every day. That will be kind of my last event with SORTA in a formal capacity. I think most folks are aware from emails and things that this is going to be my last board meeting. Sorry, after 10 really great years, this has been the honor of my lifetime to be part of this organization and to work with all of you. It's funny, I look over at Gwen. Gwen is the only person that was here right when I got here, and oh, sorry, my mic. Nobody wants to hear this anyway. But and you were so kind and generous to me in helping me get on board, and your partnership has been fantastic these 10 years, and the opportunity and so much we've gotten done. I'm humbled by what's been accomplished by this group. It was not an easy decision, but after 10 years, maybe it's somebody else's turn. I would also say that it's made easier by I know we have a lot of talent here, right? The board is super strong, leadership is strong. Obviously, everybody knows that my partnership with Darryl here has been amazing, and certainly, I love you to death. And without your leadership, Blake's leadership, everybody here, the strength of the organization, you're in great hands. That being said, I would also note that it's easy to get wrapped up in all the good news, right? We've got a lot of good news lately around ridership recovery and just everything we've tried to do and push the envelope. And we have a lot of money in the bank, and that is easy to get a little bit cavalier about things, right? And I would beg you not to, right? There's a lot of hard challenges coming up to get BRT done. We know the federal funding is decreasing, after COVID and things, and so make sure we use those assets wisely. I think the strongest thing about the board these days is that we're all working together and really almost no individual agendas that I can tell, right? That wasn't the case earlier, 10 years ago, but obviously things can turn around really fast if you don't all pay attention. So work together, work hard. There's so much you're doing that's so wonderful for the community. And I thank you for all your support of me and making my job so easy. Sometimes in this role you get a lot of credit that you probably don't deserve, and so maybe I've gotten a lot of that. But again, humbled by the experience, and so appreciative of everybody's support. So thank you and good luck. Right? Okay. That's what I was fishing for. There you go.
Are we saying nice things about you now, or is that later on the agenda?
Well, I guess whatever the spirit moves you.
Hey, this is your
I think
update.
now
so.
would be a good idea if you want to.
We will do some of that later. Darryl has a lot
Hey,
to say too.
I fall
All
in
right,
line
well-
behind Darryl.
Then we'll try to hustle things along. But again, thank you for everything, and we get into the agenda now. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes from last month. The minutes are in your package. Hopefully you had a chance to review. So I would move approval. Motion, is it I can't remember. Is this a voice one? I'm going to be off all night tonight, guys. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say right. Okay, I will hand it over to Sonia.
Sonia's not available tonight.
Sonia's not available tonight.
So I'll be pitching
Dano,
in for
all
Sonia,
right.
yes.
Big shoes to fill. But
Yes, for sure. No, Sonia, we had a great meeting. So I'm pitch hitting for Sonia tonight and wanted to report out on the Finance Committee. 3 main subjects to cover that we covered in our committee report. Clark Schaefer Hackett was utilized to analyze our cybersecurity and do an assessment. So in that assessment, they did draw some internal and external conclusion, SORTA has made commendable strides in enhancing its cybersecurity posture and securing its external facing systems and significantly bolstered the security of the internal infrastructure over the past year. So those are the positive results that Clark Schaefer Hackett Consulting reported out. However, they said that they tried, they had some professionals try to hack into our systems, and they were successful. They successfully exploited a limited number of internal host systems in a meaningful way. So with that, they gave us some advice on how we bolster our internal securities, and we took that under advisement. So that was the cybersecurity threat assessment
And I
from
think,
Clark Schaefer.
didn't Pat say we've addressed most of those issues already, right?
That's correct. So thank you for that. The second of the three items was I wanted to touch on the P&L. The financial results, in summary, we were unfavorable to budget on the revenue by the tune of $370,000, and unfavorable in ridership by the tune of $70,000. But overall, on the operating side, we were favorable to budget by 15%. And on the non-transportation funds, we were also favorable slightly, $16,000. The county sales tax was down. That was a big subject that we talked about. Andy and Daryl told us that they're closely monitoring the sales tax revenue that we receive from the county, and that will be an ongoing subject that we report out on. But as of right now, that's all I wanted to report, unless there are any questions on the P&L and the summary items. Okay. And then the other was the investment of funds. So naturally, we have a lot of funds to invest. We have the investment of funds report for the infrastructure, which was our yield on that's 4.8%, and the yield on the other investment of funds is 4.6%. And we approved, or we recommended the approval of the investment of funds. So that's all for my report. I'll take any. Well, can I take questions? Or
You
does
can
anybody
take
have any
questions.
Of course. Anybody have any questions for the Finance Committee? Okay.
There you go. Thank you. No action items tonight for you, right? All right. Planning and ops.
All right, we had a good planning and ops meeting. Echoing some of what Craig said, we do have missed trips and OTP challenges that are continuing. We do see some improvement in missed trips, and that's very exciting. OTP, I think we did see a little bit down, right? But we're making some improvements. We have a lot of new operators, and we need to see them get more experience, and then hopefully that will address both of those as we progress. Was I wrong about OTP?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
You will see some measurable improvements this month.
Yes, this is what I hear. I'm super excited to see that. But we obviously have to keep on that as this is one of the keys to the future of Metro. Okay. In terms of action items, we have Everybody Rides Metro. We have 2 appointees. We did not actually vote or move on this in the committee, so we're considering it for the first time here as the full board. And the nominations are Dan Driehaus and Neil Kelly. So we have to have 2 members from this board on the board of directors for ERM. And they would go through 2027 if it continues to exist to that time, I suppose.
Those seats are held by you and Sonia.
That's right.
Any questions, comments?
And did everybody understand your comment there about why, if it still exists, we're discussing whether that stays
There
a
were a
separate
lot of
entity.
people, most of us were
Okay.
at the board, or at the committee meeting, so we kind of covered that
Got
in
it.
detail.
Came in after finance was over. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and move Dan and Neil for the 2 open positions. Properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Oh, it's gonna be a roll call, isn't it? I'm sorry, see?
Yep. Threw you off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did we ever identify what agencies, I know in the report, it was identified which agencies they represented?
Oh, the various members, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
We should probably share that. That's fine.
yeah, that was in the committee
In the
report.
in the planning committee, but I'm just saying.
Correct.
For full disclosure, as we vote for tonight, we need to know, or we should know what agency they reflect or represent.
So you're only voting on the two of our people
Right, our two.
tonight, right?
But I would like for us to know the rest of the board.
Sure.
Yep. I think I can.
And I think
cover
there were comments in the committee about having
Right.
the board come and report to us
Right.
on what's going on. And I think that was heard and
Yes.
is in the works.
It is in the works.
And-
And we'll send that out.
All right, I
of
appreciate
the
that.
list.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When's the last time Aaron was here, right? 3 months ago? 4 months?
that. Yeah, and I can go over those agencies right now if you would like.
It doesn't matter, I didn't want to disrupt, but it just,
We'll
Yeah.
send it out to you.
yeah, just send it out.
Got it.
I know we voted for our two, I just wanted to know how we compliment the rest of the board.
Yep.
Got it.
Send her the pictures and everything.
Got it.
Ms. Clark? Mr. Dreehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kazee?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Metz? Yes. Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Sheets? And Mr. Smith?
All right. Sounds like that passes.
It did.
All right. Next item is the approval of the sales office lease revision. So that might throw you off a little bit because it would be a different sales office, same building, but it would be the next to Corrito, we'll say, office space that's facing Government Square. This is a uncommon opportunity, I would say, considering the number of spaces right by Government Square. It would allow us to have that presence right there, a ticket office. But there was robust discussion in committee. I'm gonna make sure we bring that up, and that's why it's not on a consent agenda. There's a significant cost to it. It's a larger space than we have now, and there's discussion about that space. I think it warrants discussion here at the full board about whether this is the right opportunity. It may not come up again, but there's obviously some drawbacks. So did anybody have further thoughts or comments, or anyone who's new want to address it? And staff, I hear you guys talking, you might have additional comments on the background on it. Trent, you want to go first?
Yeah, so Blake, I think you alluded to a couple of my concerns. I was not in the committee meeting, but number one, it's a 5x increase in our square foot area. So I'm curious, like, why we need so much more space. I understand that the square foot per dollar square foot cost is going down, but we're still going up 4.5 times the current. So that's a significant concern to me. And then is the intent of this to allow for walk-up ticket sales? Okay, so my other follow-up question to that is, you know, I understand the value in having that ability down there, but my understanding is that is a very, very, very small portion of our total ticket sales. And so I'm just trying to suss out, like, is the benefit to doing this worth what's a pretty significant increase in cost? I'm guessing that's what a lot of the discussion was around in the meeting, but those are my questions.
I think there's some other benefits to the space as well, and not just getting a better spot for the ticket sales, although I think that's a big part of what it is. There would also be rider education, that kind of thing that could be done there. And then we did discuss other opportunities of potentially an evaluation center. I don't think we know whether that's possible because a lot of riders have trouble getting out to our current space, and maybe this would be better, more accessible. And so there was a lot of consideration of possibility, but I don't know if we've really fully addressed that out, fleshed it out. I don't know if you want to address that, Daryl.
Let me jump in just for a second. It's my last meeting.
Greg, you can talk as much as you want.
Craig's last meeting?
The real benefit of this is that the tenant there today does not help Government Square work more effectively, right? And a lot of the problems we have in Government Square are directly related to the tenant there today, not the tenant themselves, and so this is a really great opportunity to remove a real obstacle to Government Square, working better. So it's really an investment in doing that. And I don't know, are we able to sublet any of the, I don't know what the lease terms are, but yeah.
We are. And as was mentioned at the committee meeting, we have a number of different opportunities there. The timing of us doesn't allow us to fully vet what the plan is going to be. We have a limited window to try to encumber the property. With the additional square footage, we've talked about working with CPD to potentially have a substation for the folks that currently are under contract to us. We've talked about potentially looking at either moving or having a secondary assessment center for our ADA passengers. We've also talked about in some office space constraints, there may be an opportunity to move some of our office functions in there as well. Very cognizant of the idea that if we increase our footprint, we either need to sublease or we need to find some efficiencies elsewhere.
Well, I wasn't in the meeting, but I just noticed under the business purpose, you mentioned the additional room to support CPD detail that provides contracted security services for Government Square. And that jumps off the page at me personally. I think that could be a nice opportunity for us to go along with what Craig was saying.
Yeah, I think there's real opportunity there. There's real opportunity in the partnership that's been built with 3CDC and with Model, who's doing the development, to really activate that space from a safety command center, for lack of a better term, that really, we don't have that on Government Square. The closest thing you have is Fountain Square. And when we've got situations at Government Square, having it right in our wheelhouse is really important. So I'm fully supportive.
Trent, I had a lot of the same questions that you did at the meeting, and I have come around and will support this, but I would also like to encourage us to think about how we can support the students who are on Government Square and how we can use that space to be of service to the young people who are using Metro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm pausing to give space to anybody who's still considering, because there is a hefty price tag. The one point to note, as I looked at this multiple times over the past week, is that is over 10 years, right? So we're looking at 1.9 million, but over 10 years. So what is it? 154,000 for year one, 159 for year two. It is going up, but there are a lot of great opportunities there. I am optimistic that we can use this very effectively. I hadn't thought about the student part, and now my mind's racing on that too. But I would move that we support this, and I'll go ahead and make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I'm really glad Sarah raised that. Thank you.
Ms. Clark? Mr. Dreehouse?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Cassie?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Metz? Yes. Ms. Robinson? Ms. Sheets? And Mr. Smith?
All right. Sounds like that passes. One more item, which is the approval of contract award 089224SS for COD upgrade and licensing, which I know is crystal clear to all of you.
Really, no more needs to be said. I don't
Really,
think.
nothing else needs to be said there. But to just start heaping some praise on Craig, this is one of the last upgrades we need to software. And this may not be the biggest transformation that Craig's led in the past 10 years, and we can talk about more of that in a minute. But the modernization that this will achieve in our software is really something to note, and I kind of like that that we're moving that on
there you
your
go.
last meeting because it's accomplishing this transformation that has been only one part of all that you've done.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, this is, not in the budget here. So there's a red line there that shows that it's unfavorable to budget. I did note that that's over several years. So not exactly hitting this 1 year of unfavorability. Any questions, concerns? If not, I'll go ahead and move passage of the CODA financial system upgrade. I always say conversation beforehand, but after we move in second, we can have more conversation. Any concerns? I mean, this is going to go cloud-based. It's going to be much more secure. The
Blake.
current system is not supported. So.
My one, and I assume this has happened, but it's tied into the cybersecurity analysis that we've done since we're moving to the cloud.
Correct. Yeah, and that was one of our major concerns with limping along with what we had, is that it was no longer supported by the vendor, which meant we had risk.
And I think as you get the new financial leadership in, eventually that'll be a nice starting point for them to go from too. So, did we move in second?
We moved and seconded.
Ms. Clark? Yes. Mr. Treehouse?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Kasit?
Yep.
Mr. Kelly? Yes. Mr. Metz? Yes. Ms. Robertson?
It's not working.
Ms. Sheets? Yes. And Mr. Smith?
That's planning and ops.
All right.
Back to you.
All right. Then we'll keep on moving. I know Dan gave some high-level information on the financial results, but Andy, why don't you fill in the gaps for everybody? The few ones that there could have possibly been.
There's not many.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. We went over the P&L statement for May in detail in the committee. Mr. Treehouse covered the highlights for sure. I guess I'd just extend to see if there are any questions. The number one point that we made again in the May financial statement was that we now have 2 months of 2024 sales tax data. It is the biggest revenue number in our budget. What we had told you that after we receive a quarter, the first 3 months of 2024 sales tax data, that we'd reach out to UC to see where the Economic Center is reading these numbers. We've already set up that meeting. So once the third month of receipts are in, UC will analyze those. We'll have a full quarter of data, and that meeting is already on the calendar to kind of get their feedback to see if we need to reproject, or so on and so forth. So I think that's the only update since the Finance Committee meeting. Happy to take any questions anybody has about the financial statement.
Apologies for missing finance, but is it still true that statewide sales tax remains down, not just to Hamilton County?
That is our
Okay,
understanding.
thanks.
Yes.
And this is the kind of thing, right? I talked about staying vigilant. So if you stay flat for a year, it means you're 5% down forever, right? And so we really got to keep thinking about what it looks like and does it change any plans we already have or reserves you already need. So those kind of things. It's a big deal. It feels like, because we still had surpluses, that it's, but we know that investment income is going to go down as we start spending some of that capital money, those kind of things. And so this will make things tight. Mike, one thing I would like, just as a final little reporting jab, I think we talked about a few months ago where ridership moves in ways that fare revenue doesn't move. So I think having this revenue per ride and things like that really called out and understood would be useful. We're getting kind of good benefits are happening. We don't know entirely why, I think. But
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the things that we're still learning, right? When we look at our revenue per ride, we're seeing a pretty significant increase in that figure. One of the hypotheses is that because of the additional crosstown service, we're having fewer transfers in the system, so people aren't having to take 2 buses, but they're paying the $4 day pass regardless. The other thing is that CPS revenue was much stronger than budgeted. And I think we may have under budgeted that a little bit, and we're learning about that as well. So I think as the system changes, we're also learning how to target.
And I think that'll be an important thing too for everybody. Sorry to belabor these things, but you may start seeing some numbers that look like riderships going down, but it really isn't, right? Because the same number of riders they get more direct place to place. So I think having that kind of data too, how many transfers on average and stuff like that really matters. So,
And just to make this clear, it's if you're transferring, that can count as 2 rides.
Correct.
So if you don't have to transfer anymore, it's 1 ride.
Correct.
So ridership looks different, but the revenue doesn't change that much.
That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
right, but a revenue per ride does because
Yeah, so that's why that
Statistics.
KPI is interesting.
So one of the things I like to point out, and I pointed out in the Planning and Ops Committee meeting, so when you think of the fact that we're 110% of pre-pandemic ridership, when our customers actually need to take less trips to get to their destination, it tells even a different story.
Right. And
So a follow-up question. Do you have any sort of a guess on what the impact on eliminating the transfers has done to ridership?
So
Meaning,
Cost, yeah.
well, cost, but we're looking at what looks like a 1% year-over-year increase in ridership. But understand that with the transfers, like, it's actually something more. So I'm trying to understand what
So-
you think the real growth rate is.
We are doing a deep dive right now into ridership and revenue per ride and whatnot, but we did so much. We added so much new service. We added so many new crosstowns. It'll be really difficult to get down to what each one of those things we did, but we're doing a deep dive on ridership and revenue per ride. And it is one of the things, once we really begin to understand the changes and what we think has happened, we're going to bring that back to the Planning and Ops Committee and do a deep dive with the board.
There are other variables too, though.
Yes.
APC.
Yes.
And that kind of thing. So
Yes.
hard to disentangle.
And we are rolling out, what's it called? I'm getting old.
Red carpet, BRT.
President
Metro Now?
No, where once you hit $4, fare capping. We'll be rolling out
yeah.
fare capping this year as well, which will have an impact on revenue per ride. And we're not 100% sure what the impact of fare capping will have. It'll be a big benefit to our riders, but that is another change that we'll be adding this
Everybody
year.
knows what that is?
No.
So if you're taking rides, right, you won't max out by more than you would have paid if you bought a day pass, right? It stops
Or a
charging. at that
30-day
point.
pass.
essentially pay as you go for day passes and monthly passes, as opposed to having to have the cash up front. You know, one of the things that we presented on in the Planning and Operations Committee over the last few months, you know, Khaled Shamoud, our Chief Strategic Planning Innovation and Development Officer, talks about the network efficiency, right? As the scientists here on the 6th floor, as I like to call them, make changes to the network, they're looking at how more efficiently can they move people in this region by using the bus network. So as a result, you know, we are seeing fewer transfers in the system. There have been so many changes, it's hard to quantify, to your point. So, you know, we could probably look at survey data and things like that to try to pinpoint how many folks no longer have to transfer. But that's kind of the other side of that coin. Is you make the system more efficient, you're going to reduce transfers in the system. So we're striving for this on one side, and it's having a balanced effect on the other.
So if you have a $2 ride and you take 2 buses to get to your destination, your revenue per ride is $1. But now that if I only have to take 1 ride to get to my destination, the revenue per ride is $2. So all of those changes that we've made in our system have kind of changed the dynamic of what we do. So we are doing a deep dive, and we'll bring that back to the Planning and Ops Committee. And I'll try to remember fare capping.
I assume there would be a hedging report on my last.
Oh, gosh.
We'll all be drawing straws to figure out who picks up that mantle after this, Craig.
Never mind. Never mind. Okay. Any more questions for Andrew? No? Okay, thank you. Metro on the Move?
Okay, for today, Metro on the Move is in your.
Oh,
There it is.
It is in your packet. I would like to take this time to celebrate one of Metro's, SORTA's family members.
a person in
On
a suit.
June the 18th, 2014, Craig Cassey joined the SORTA board and became one of our family members. Not yet. His passion and his dedication to this organization, his partnership to me. I don't know that I could ever repay you for your partnership. The community owes you a great debt of gratitude for all of the hard work. This man and I have talked at 2 in the morning, at 10 o'clock at night, at 3 o'clock in the morning. Craig, what you've done here has been amazing, and I am proud to have partnered with you. So I'm going to start with, if I may, can you put your jacket on for me?
I can't.
I'm going to start by pinning on you your 10-year pin.
So I'm tied with Gwen now.
That's exactly right.
Does that make it look skinnier with?
I hope so. And next, I'd like now, Mike, next I'd like Blake to join me as we present Craig with his Royal Coach Person Award.
Oh, wow, thank you. Wow. Over here somewhere. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
That is nice. Kissy right and everything.
Oh, wow.
Craig Kissy.
Thank you. That's right. Shannon still spells it wrong. My wife, I was like.
And last but not least, the family of Metro, from every driver, every mechanic, every admin person, from the leadership in this organization, every person that answers the phone or cleans our buses. We owe you a debt of gratitude, and we wanted to give you a certificate of appreciation. So I'd like the leadership, if you guys would come up here and get in this picture. Very much, Bill. I think they take the box.
You look great.
And if I could, I'd like to read this. Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Craig Cassee upon his retirement after 10 years on the SORTA board, in recognition for his leadership in transforming public transportation in Hamilton County. Funding Reinventing Metro service improvements through passage of Issue 7. Launching 24-hour bus service, Metro Now on-demand service, and planning for bus rapid transit. Awarding more than $300 million in infrastructure projects, including $205 million for the Western Hills Viaduct. Opening the Northside Transit Center with more on the way. Improving the lives of people with disabilities through access expansion and regional paratransit coordination. Simplifying Metro's fare structure and helping connect people and places, driving economic growth and expand quality of life choices. Just a few things that you've accomplished in your 10 years.
Taking credit for it. Wow. That's really nice. Wait, did you want to hop up there too? Okay, everybody.
Yeah, let's get a picture of everybody in a minute. Oh, no, you can.
Thank you. Thank you.
And at this point, any board member that would like to have comments, this would be a perfect time for it.
Don't feel obligated.
I'm going to say that when Dale brought up the idea of listing everything that Craig had accomplished on a plaque, I was like, I don't think they make them that big. And that was just a few things.
Just a few.
And I think, Craig, I think we're all thankful for just who you are as a leader and how you've helped all of us and the entire organization. But also, I want to note that you've transformed more than just Metro. You've led transformations of the entire city, the entire region, the entire county, and beyond, the whole region. So that must feel great. You've done so much. And I think the entire region should be standing up and applauding you today
wow.
and
Well, thank
thanking
you.
you. I hope that they're listening to this meeting. And I think for all the years to come, I will continue to say that and praise the amazing work that you've done here. So thank you so much. And please keep coming back for every hedging report because we need you. And we're just so thankful for everything you've done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Craig, I made notes so I didn't forget anything.
Okay.
Anyone who's run a political campaign knows the bond you form when you're trying to do something as hard as convince voters to do something, anything, elect a person, raise a tax. I'm so glad I got to do that with you. I've watched you in every setting, from telling hard truths to people in power to running 7 miles for issue 7 to building.
Maybe not running, John.
You ran. I drove you home, but you ran. Every small task, finding $75,000 when the world shut down, you were an integral part of all of that. And I learned so much from you and appreciate the friendship that we created during that time. And I'm just forever appreciative of doing that with you. I'll also say you talked about all the credit you get. The inverse is also always true. You have selflessly put yourself out there to say, I will take the slings and arrows for this organization. I will say the hard things. I will do the complicated things to give staff the space to operate, to say what's right and represent this organization, even when it's messy and complicated. It means your family and friends read about you in the news and hear people say some things that aren't true and aren't always easy to hear. And so you've done that time and time again, and you've always done it with grace and with a bad joke somewhere along the way. But
Let's just say joke and leave it there.
you know, I know how much of a toll that took on you from time to time,
yeah.
but it never showed. And so it's a huge testament to you. I know I work every day to try and live up to your expectations on this board, and I think that's probably true for many of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
So, Craig, I told you this already, but I don't know if everybody knows. I first met Craig when I first moved to Deer Park. I bought a house. I bought a house in Deer Park because it was on a bus line, and I went to a focus group about there was going to be this levy that's happening, and I was so excited for this levy. I was, just excited. I was going to tell everybody about it, go vote for this levy, and then it didn't happen, right? So, like any person who's pissed off, I wrote an op-ed, and I blamed Craig, right? Because
take a number, right?
Because it was Craig who I talked to, and it was Craig who I'm sure at the time couldn't tell everybody that it may or may not happen. He didn't know. Had to pass off as if it was, and it was his fault, right? So I wrote Craig. We met at McAllister's in Kenwood, and I started angrier than I left the meeting. I was like, "What happened, man?" And he told me the story. And instead of leaving that meeting, having met a defensive leader, having met somebody who was upset that somebody approached them angrily, I instead left that meeting inspired to try to make change in the community. And if it wasn't for that meeting and the many meetings afterward, I wouldn't be in this room right now. I wouldn't have been so inspired to work with Pete, Chamber of Commerce, met Daryl, so many others to make Issue 7 happen. So, Craig, thank you for inspiring me. And
Same.
So, Craig, I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay, can I first say that?
You sure
I was gonna
can.
say, I need to say something. I'm trying not to
Gwen
say
always
it.
gets the last word. So,
Yeah.
okay.
It's been said that organization takes on the personality of its leader. And when I was asked about being on this board, I said one thing I really love is the great chemistry that's on this board, and I can see why. It's because of you. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'll just slide in before Gwen, because
Craig
Gwen
and
gets
I
to
go way back.
Chelsea, want to talk before you? She said you got the big finish.
hold it down. I just gotta slide in real quick. So when I come onto the board, I truly I'd never been on a bus. We don't even have transit where I'm from because it's such a small town and in the country, and so it was something quite new. But what I was drawn to was the advocacy for people and making sure that people had access in order to do their work. And when I got here, I saw the makeup, and at that time it's obviously a little bit different, but you stood out and you guided me. You've been a great person to get information from, and you've done a model job of what leadership looks like and how to contribute and how to ask difficult questions and how to be supportive all at the same time. And so that's something I'm going to continue to work on and get better. And I'm inspired because of you, and I appreciate the long, hard work that you've done.
Well,
And
thank you.
And opening
Thank
your
you.
home up.
Thank you very much.
Craig, I want to thank you. Craig came on at a time that this board wasn't a team. He came on at a time that the newspaper enjoyed coming to our meetings. And they enjoyed after the meeting because some of the members had fun talking with the newspaper, news reporters, anonymously. There was this, I'm going to say this trust. There was a trust issue. And so they bring on this Craig Cassee. And I thought I was a woman of the community. I had no clue who he was. And I've said, all right, we got someone else we got to fight. We're fighting each other, so what? But Craig, you came in and what you did peace be still. You had patience, you had integrity, and everybody said the same thing in reality, because you said that you did the hard things. You made it. You took the hard work. You did. You took it on, and sometimes I was like, "Ooh, that's gonna be a political buzzsaw," and you would just go right in there and go through it. And for that, I think I became a better board member. Wouldn't allow what was going on before to surround me, and I thank you for that. And I share with you that I have been on several boards. I was blessed to be on some paid boards, and I've been blessed to be on a lot of nonprofit boards and some private boards. But the leadership that Craig provides us and provided us is unreproachable. I have not had this kind of leadership. And I thank you for how you made, and I'm gonna say me personally feel, you made me equal. You did not, I can call you anytime. We talked about the hard issues, and we talked about the easy one, and we laughed. We had fun laughing at some situations too. So I want to thank you for being who you are as a person.
Oh, thank you.
And you shared that with us. I saw your heart. It was a fight that I had historically with this agency, this organization, not appreciating diversity. So it was kind of like you knew who were going to be the next leaders. You kind of knew where the money was going to go. And we just sat here. And I decided to test it and see if we could deal with diversity, especially in our procurement and even in our own hiring. This board took it on. I mean, the new people came in, but Craig, you had to set that tone. You set that tone, and it made it easy. They believed because you believed. And I thank you for that, and I thank this board. And Daryl, I laugh at Daryl sometimes because he's had the chance to sit in the back and watch all of this. He saw it all. And I know in your mind, I'm not gonna have a board like that, and I'm not gonna have staff like that, and I'm not gonna have leadership like that. And it all came true. So thank you so much. And I know we still, every once in a while, gonna have those touch points.
Yep.
I called you one time, I think you were in Spain somewhere, your time,
Yeah.
and your time was off. You were just going to bed and I was up. So, but you took time and spent that time. So I don't want to lose you and I don't want you to lose me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Thank
not.
Your flowers while you live.
Too much Craig time. But I honestly, I know I was getting a little emotional earlier. This has been an honor, and thank you. Right, I'm humbled by the experience. So, Godspeed to everybody. Okay. Any other new business? All right, I propose we go into executive session under section 121.22 G3, conferences with